A few thoughts as a global investor with an Indian focus with regard to the forthcoming budget to be unveiled on the 1st of February 2023. One is policy predictability. Indeed, policy stability, including with regard to taxation. Global investors would expect that as a minimum, especially long-term global foreign direct investors. Secondly, the Indian rupee has been depreciating progressively over the years. Not dramatically, but sometimes erratically, and certainly consistently. While the Reserve Bank of India, which is the central bank of the country, does intervene in the markets to maintain reasonable exchange rate stability, it can incentivize foreign direct investors, long-term investors, by providing them with long-term hedge and indeed working in tandem between the regulator and the government, make sure that there are some incentives. For instance, if there are any foreign direct investments that are impacted by capital gains taxation or other taxation, then providing them with a deduction or an allowance for exchange rate depreciation factored in over the period of their investments. Let me share my perspectives as a global investor with an India focus with regard to the Indian budget that will be unveiled on the 1st of February 2023. As a global investor, I would like to see continued policy predictability. By this, what I mean is that all policies, all procedures should be maintained or improved progressively, and no adversarial action should be taken which would impact investors adversely with regard to their investments, especially any retrospective actions, including on taxation, can be dampeners and will more crucially dissuade new investors from considering India as a viable destination, predictable destination. So I think it's very important that the stability of the policies, predictability, etc. are maintained. Secondly, an important consideration for many investors into India is the challenging rupee depreciation. The Indian rupee has been depreciating steadily and sometimes erratically year on year, and the policies would seem to be designed to favor Indian exporters and to maintain rupee competitiveness by the Reserve Bank of India. And while they do it as professionally as they can, it does adversely affect international investors. Domestic savings rate in India, while it is healthy and the flows are good, they are always going to be inadequate to be able to provide the growth capital or to finance the infrastructure growth, the vast infrastructure investment requirements, industrial investment requirements for manufacturing. And India wants to be a manufacturing base for a China plus one policy or Europe plus one policy. So I think from those perspectives, it's important that the budget addresses not just global investment institutions, not just the sovereign wealth funds with whom India has been able to negotiate a favorable tax regime applicable to them, but also with the large NRI investors. And the NRI investment pool is estimated anywhere between $80 to $90 billion globally. So that's a reasonable sum to consider. And foreign direct investments needs these measures such as policy predictability, stability, political stability, and insulating the economy from as many external pressures. I think these would be my thoughts for the budget.
Hello, this is Shahdadpuri, chairman of the Nikkei group of companies based in UAE, having our business interests in about 60 countries of the world. A question is asked, what are our expectations out of the forthcoming budget? Well, if India has to be a global power, we must grow our employment opportunities and grow our manufacturing. And the only two ways I can see is that India so far has been having an India budget. We need to have a Bharat budget and a Vishwa budget in the sense that Bharat lives in villages, and we have to promote the industry, SME particularly, and give them some facilities, loans at a very reasonable or bank interest rates, and not the informal way of they raising the loans at a very high interest rate. So that SME is the backbone which will generate a large amount of employment.
Is the mission and vision of our Prime Minister to see and make India a 10 trillion economy in the next coming years. Obviously, for making any economy grow at that pace and at that level, foreign investment and partnerships are very necessary. I feel to attract foreign capital, I'll focus only on two elements, foreign capital and the sector that I'm associated with. To attract foreign capital, we have to provide them incentive to bring money in and stay put for a little while. So I suggest the long-term capital gain for investments in stock market or listed equities should be made zero tax, but the holding period could be made 2 to 3 years so that it is not speculative. People who bring money in, they come in as an investor rather than a speculator and not traders on the short term. So one thing I definitely feel is a long-term capital gain duration may be extended to 2 to 3 years. Secondly, in the field of education, the sector I am associated with, we should make education open to FDI on repatriable basis, and it should no more remain a not-for-profit investment, but it should be in the corporate sector. We'll attract quality investment, and India certainly needs a massive investment in education sector.